All right, friends, it's time to give you loyal listeners a discount on protein powder. You may or may not know, but I launched my very first protein powder 2 years ago. It's a grass-fed beef isolate with only 3 ingredients: grass-fed beef, either organic cacao or organic vanilla, and organic monk fruit. Now, if you don't want any of the added flavor and sweeteners, you can also just get unflavored. And no matter what flavor you choose, you're getting over 23 grams of protein per scoop, which is going to keep you full and satisfied between meals. I love starting my day with a Fab4 smoothie and breaking my fast with that much protein. It makes a serious difference in my cravings and blood sugar balance the rest of the day, and I've seen it with my clients as well. Now, I never thought I'd own a product company, but when I got pregnant with Sebastian, I realized the majority of protein powders were chemically extracted or enzymatically extracted, and I wanted to use heat and water only. I wanted minimal ingredients because we don't need those emulsifiers, fillers, or added vitamins, minerals, and probiotics. All of those additions increase the chances that it's not going to work for your body, whether it be bloating, digestion issues. I just wanted pure, clean protein to keep you full and satisfied so you could build the most delicious Fab4 smoothie. And I have to say, I'm pretty proud of the flavor. If you take a look at our reviews on Amazon, you'll see 5-star reviews for flavor. And that is key, because if you don't love your Fab4 smoothie and you don't love drinking your protein powder, you're not going to do it. It won't become a habit, and it's consistency that outpaces everything. So if you're here and you're listening and you want to give our protein powder a try, use the code podcast5 for $5 off your order. And let me know if you love it. My favorite ways to apply this protein powder is in my Fab4 smoothie, making freezer fudge, making chocolate milk, making hot chocolate, and throwing the unflavored into all my kids' baked goods. So let me know how you use it. Let me know if you love it, and share this podcast deal with your friends. Happy Friday. Today's a really positive episode. I'm really excited to bring on my friend Kelsey Patel. But before we get to Kels, I want to read a review because this made my day, and I appreciate you, MD Pinner. The review is called Binge Listener, 5-star. I bounce between 5 and 8 podcasts about leadership, parenting, health, and fitness. I am so excited to have found Be Well by Kelly. While most people binge watch Netflix, I found myself binge listening to Kelly's podcasts. I started from episode 1 and listened to 2 each morning and get excited for my mornings and quiet time just to hear the next one. She brings great guests on her podcast and teaches me so much about health, life, business, and parenting. Kelly, thank you for being down to earth and making healthy living simple. That is my goal in life. It does not have to be confusing or hard. We just need to stay motivated and get excited about the good stuff. So I really appreciate it. If you just found me and you already are feeling that way, I feel like I'm doing my job. So it makes me really happy. I appreciate you and anyone else who's reviewed the show. It really helps people find us. So thanks so much. All right. Couple little announcements. My fingers are crossed that Amazon has accepted my shipment of protein powder. It is at their facility. We are just waiting for them to populate it and make it available to you. So don't forget to give Amazon a check for Be Well by Kelly protein. It is a grass-fed beef protein isolate. It's from a pasture-raised farm in Sweden. It includes 3 ingredients: pasture-raised beef protein, which is all your essential amino acids plus collagen amino acids, monk fruit, organic monk fruit, and organic flavor like organic cacao for chocolate, organic vanilla for vanilla, or an unsweetened flavor if you'd like to doctor up your own favorite flavor. So that's one announcement. The second announcement is that the Fab4 Fundamentals is still on sale. It is on sale through the 4th of July weekend, going back to its $250 price on the 7th. So you have until July 6th to get it at the $197 price. That means you're getting 15 videos about the Fab4, along with a 40-page downloadable PDF toolkit, which includes way more information than my book. Some of the additional PDFs you'll receive is about how to use prebiotics in your smoothie, how to increase insulin sensitivity, Fab4 for weight loss, the FAQs on the Fab4 smoothie, a book club review. Lots of fun PDFs have been added to the course. Plus, if you sign up now, you'll join class 2, which means you're going to get 5 additional Zoom hours in the classroom with me throughout July, where you can ask any of your personal questions. My first class, the OG class, hold a special place in my heart. I feel like these people are, I've seen their little faces on the other side of my computer. They are my community. And it's been such a pleasure to support them on their wellness journey, just to stay motivated and increase the nutrition in their life and in their family's life as well. So first of all, a little shout out to Class 1. If you are interested in joining, I can't wait to invite you to Class 2 throughout July. And remember, these additional Zoom hours are only going to happen throughout 2020. The minute baby 2 is here, Mama's not going to have the availability and the time to host these courses. So if you've ever been thinking about joining the Fab 4 Fundamentals and doing some classroom time with me, now is the time. Okay, let's get to Kelsey, because I think this podcast is the best way to start your day. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I am so excited to welcome my friend Kelsey Patel to the show today. She is a wellness expert, a Reiki master, and first-time author of her new book, Burning Bright.
Yay!
Kels, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Acal. I'm so honored to be here. And by the way, your podcast is amazing. I was checking all of it out and I am obsessed. So your listeners are very, very blessed to have you finally in this format.
Oh, I really appreciate that. It's been just so fun to talk to my friends and people I've looked up to for a really long time, and just to learn from other guests. It's really special, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be putting podcasts out on Wednesday and on Friday, because I feel like Wednesday is really strictly wellness based, but then Friday I get to really explore entrepreneurs and female leaders and moms. And it's just, I have a lot of people that I love to talk to. So it's been really fun.
It's amazing. And also it's because it's this idea that then we get all the perspectives that life really has inside of it. It's not just one way of looking through a spectrum, right? You're showing all of it. So I just wanted to say kudos, and your listeners are very lucky.
Oh, thanks, Kelsey. I really appreciate it. Well, I know that they're really, really going to love this episode. And I'm so excited, not only to tell your story and to talk about what inspired you to write Burning Bright, and, your journey into becoming one of, I would say, the most popular Reiki and wellness expert out there. I mean, you've been at all of the Goop conferences and Mind Body Green, and, everyone looks to you to really provide that calm and meditative space and really pure energy. So I'd like to start the podcast that way, so that people get a real good taste of who you are and what you do, not just by talking about it, by experiencing it. So how do you feel about that?
I love that, because that's actually you know this about me, but that's really one of the things that I always want to leave people with, is this idea of having an experience of the work, because it's really easy for all of us to just talk about it and then for people to listen, but it can still feel like it's really far from tangible or far from being a real part of your quote unquote ability. Those are the stories that people love telling themselves, myself included. But yeah, let's dive in, because I think giving people the experience of this practice is something that's so powerful and goes far beyond what you and I could ever say.
Awesome. Well, I'll let you take it away.
All right. So everybody, wherever you're listening, obviously, please make sure you do this in a safe way. If you're driving, maybe fast forward and come back to this practice later on today, or whenever you have a few minutes just to sit down and get still. And if you are in a place where you can, even if you have your pets or your kids around, it's okay. Just allow this softness and this time to be a part of your day. So wherever you are, just taking a few moments, and you don't even need to close your eyes. Just sit up a little taller. And then feel your sit bones really rooting down into the seat or the floor beneath you. Feel your body elevating and lifting up as you lengthen the spine. And just with your eyes nice and soft, and your breath going in and out of the body. To bring that breath into the spine. Let's just tend to our central nervous system for a moment. As you do this, take a full inhale breath and just let your whole spine lengthen and receive that space of breath. And then as you exhale, just allow energy to release down and out through your arms and through your hands, just letting go of what you've held or taken in that you don't need. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, fill up the spine, root down to rise up. And as you exhale, just let something go. You don't need to know what, you don't need to know why, just release. Inhale, fill and open that space in the back body. Open your mouth as you exhale and just let go. Last time, fill up into that whole back body. And this time, just hold your breath for a moment. Relax the shoulders as you inhale a little more, sip a little more air. Get a little taller. And this time, exhale through the front of your chest, through the heart space. Exhale. And if it's available to you, maybe softly close the eyes now. Feel your whole body. Allow a sense of spaciousness, clarity, peace. Come into the whole being, to the mind and the heart. As you exhale, just soften into surrender. Letting go of expectations, of noise, of to-do lists. And do that 2 more times. And in this last minute, we'll be sending distance Reiki healing. The energy is simply intended for balance and harmony. Just help move and shift any energy so you can come back to your day feeling balanced, harmonized, letting things be easy. Just take a moment to notice how this feels. Has anything shifted since when you started? No need to control or make it last. Just aware. Aware of how you feel. What's come up, or perhaps what's softened for you. Take a deep breath in. Big breath out. When you're ready, inhale, tuck the chin to the chest. Exhale, gently open your eyes. Yay!
That's a great way to start, I'll tell you that. It's amazing just focusing on breath and like being really focused on where you're allowing that breath to travel and just calming your body. It's a really great way to start. I think any work day, any like period of focus, any like interaction with your spouse, it just feels good.
It does. And I think people don't always realize, again, myself included with all of this, how 5 minutes can actually create a huge shift in the whole day for you. Even, and it's not, I think people get stuck in this mindset of, oh, well, I meditated today. And maybe you did, but maybe it was 6 hours ago. And maybe you need 5 minutes again now at 2 p.m. or whatever to reset again. And I feel like that's sort of where people have gotten sort of a little too rigid in some of their wellness practices. It's not about, to me, wellness isn't about having a schedule with all of your attentiveness and awareness. It's about flexibility, right? It's about that idea. And I know you know this in your own practice and what you do with your clients. It's about creating this flexibility in mind, body, and spirit so that if something like COVID-19 or something comes, like you have durability, you have resource.
Yeah, I feel like tools can make you so resilient, and like just knowing what's in your toolbox and being able to react in a moment and get in the practice and habit of being like, I need this right now. I'm going to do this. And almost just like an intentional pause and getting good at knowing when you need that. So powerful.
Yes. Amen.
So can you start us from the beginning? How did your journey start and, bring you to where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. I'm going to make it short because as many of us do in life, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know actually, when you started off with your work, did you always know that this was where you wanted to go?
I love you. You're interviewing me.
I know. I want to know as your friend.
I've always loved health and wellness. But when I first got started, I thought I needed to be everything. So like I'm a certified 200-hour yoga instructor. I'm certified in Sculpt. I'm certified from the National Strength and Conditioning Association as a personal trainer. I felt like wellness, it's the Wild West, and to have like a health coaching degree. And then on top of that, a clinical nutrition degree. And, from coaching classes to literally going back to UCLA, it's been a long journey for me. But what I did realize in the first year very quickly was that I liked motivating people to make powerful nutrition decisions in their life. And I liked working out with my friends, but I didn't want to train my friends.
Okay, so that's fascinating. And I also think it's a really important thing for any of the listeners, because I just want to touch on this and I will get to the answer to the question, but how I roll, I always go very intuitive with
Yeah, me too.
That's why we work. I think it's really important for people listening that have a desire to get into the wellness space to really hear that, because I went down the same rabbit hole of like, oh, I'm going to get my ecstatic dance certification from Shiva Ray, and then I'm going to get my 200-hour yoga certification, and I'm going to get my Reiki masters all the way up to the Reiki master teacher, and I'm going to go do meditation courses, and I'm going to go do, and I kept feeling like I was 1 degree away from being valuable and being non-imposter syndrome. And I think it's so important I absolutely love degrees and I love certifications. I mean, I certify people in Reiki, but I really think there's a slippery slope for people when it comes to being ready to just stand in the space of knowing what you feel passionate about and knowing how you want to serve and how you want to show up, versus your ego's trick that it will play on you that you still need that one other certification to become quote unquote validated. Do you agree with that?
Oh, to this day. I mean, there are times when I'm interviewing MDs and I think to myself, no, you really should go back and get your registered dietitian, your RD. And then I stop myself and I'm like, no, wait. I literally dropped 3 nutrition courses at UCLA because the intro to nutrition course I was being taught was not the science I knew to be true in PubMed as of like 2019, 2018. And I don't need that. Like I can go get the science on my own and I understand it, but I completely like what you're saying is resonating so strongly with me because so many people get so excited and they go do their health coaching or they go do, meditation or yoga or whatever it is. And then it's the actual work that's so scary because they don't think they're worthy.
Amen. Oh my God, I have chills all over my body, because even if it's one of you listening that needs to hear this, like you need to hear this because I feel like I've just watched so many people, including myself. I mean, there was a moment where I'll never forget. A friend said to me, and it was so important for me to hear. She was like, Kels, another certification isn't going to get you any closer to what you really want to be doing. So just get started. And it was the best advice. And I was so terrified to start doing, Reiki clients one-on-one. And, I tell people all the time, like when I started doing this work, because it's very easy now to look at what you're doing, Kelly, or what I'm doing, or anybody else that you would quote unquote admire in the wellness field, it's very easy to look at them and feel like it just must have started like that big or that whatever it was. And I always like to demystify it for people and tell them, when I started doing workshops in LA, I had workshops where no one signed up or came, or I had a workshop that I was so excited about and 3 people signed up and 1 person came, and I think and my rates when I started off were so cheap for an hour session. And I would end up doing them like an hour and a half session because I felt so unworthy of doing the work. And that's not something that you can get in a certification program. That just comes with you taking the time to get in and do the work. And then also to start to see yourself and to continue and recognize the work that you still have to do as you're out in the world. And there is a place where you can be both still needing to do work on yourself and be guiding others. I really believe in that.
That's so true. And it's so powerful to share that you've had workshops where people haven't shown up and that your rates were low. Like I remember when I was, $50 an hour and I would drive 45 minutes to the valley to meet someone. But like the confidence, it comes from the work. It comes from like helping someone, seeing them transform, seeing their life change, seeing them like affect other people and pass that like positive energy on, or those like tools or just, just that sort of magnetic energy for good to just like continue to pass it on. And you're like, actually, I am affecting change. When you start to see yourself affect change, I mean, that really does happen when you see the clients and do the work. And then exactly what you said, there are going to be people that you meet where you're like, I need to go deeper to support this person better. And what do I need to do to elevate myself to be able to support people on the next level?
Amen. And then also it's a great practice. Like I very much believe you don't always know your boundaries. Like you might have very firm boundaries in certain things. Absolutely. But you don't really always know your boundaries until they get pushed up against, and I'm sure you've had that too of like, okay, maybe I don't give my clients my cell phone number. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm not available on a Sunday night at 7 p.m. People coming into my home for sessions because it ends up being 10 p.m. and my husband's waiting for me to have dinner because it's been 3-hour session instead of an hour session.
It happens all the time. You just want to, that goes back to feeling unworthy and wanting to give more time so that they feel like they're getting their money's worth and that you can enact change in the allotted hour you've provided them if you've done the work to show up for them.
Yes. And yes. And also, as we both know, clients, and this goes for all, I'm clients of people, like I practice what I preach. I have my team of people that I love and call upon. I was just saying before we recorded that I went to acupuncture yesterday. We all have those people. And it's also really about how you choose to show up as the client. Like I used to feel guilty almost showing up to sessions when I needed help and support. And I would always ask how they're doing and if they needed help with anything. And then I really started to see how much that wasn't their intention and I didn't need to make it mine either. And then I've been able to show up to all of the things that I choose and elect to book for myself. Even if it's a doctor's appointment, it doesn't matter to me. I really now give myself full permission to be the patient or the client and to receive. And it makes it so much more powerful for both them and for me.
I think you've done a really good job and you're a great example of like setting boundaries and learning to balance your energy. There are certain people that really just give, and they're worried about everyone else and they're left empty. And that's like saying yes to things that you really in your heart want to say no to, but you feel like you need to be loyal, supportive, a really good friend, whatever the case may be. and you're showing up for that person, but you're not showing up for yourself. Like, what advice do you have for people who may be living that type of a life and energetically just giving it away?
Oh, that could make me cry because it's such a powerful question. And it's so important for people to start to really take inventory and look at these parts of their lives, because it's where, it's where things like thyroid disease and adrenal fatigue and and Hashimoto's and autoimmune disorder, it's where all of these things, in my personal opinion, start to leak and start to stem from is energy drainage, and I think, if your doctor is telling you, wow, or you're feeling this exhaustion all the time, I would very much start with, of course, the bio mechanical parts of your body and doing the things that you can from that perspective. But you're also going to recognize that you are the common denominator. No one else is going to manage your energy levels for you but you. And you really deserve to feel healthy and to feel vibrant and to actually, and this is something I never thought was possible when I was in the throes of just not knowing my value or my worth. It's possible to wake up and feel energized. And I never knew that. And I think, and I was someone who suffered from mono, and I had shingles and chronic urinary tract infections in my 20s. And it was very hard for me to even face it or realize it or show up for myself during that, because I worked on Capitol Hill. I worked in a Fortune 500 company, and I taught dance, and I danced in a company. I did all the things, and I was just constantly draining. I don't know if I've ever actually asked myself if this is what I want to be doing. I just kept doing. And I think for anyone out there that really doesn't know where to start, my best piece of advice, and it's so simple, is wake up in the morning, put your hands on your heart, take a few deep breaths, and ask yourself, just for today, what is one act of self-care or self-love that I will give myself? Just one thing. And it could be as simple as make a Fab Four smoothie or, drink water with lemon or, and just commit to that one thing. It could be just go for a walk today. You don't even put a time limit on it. Just this one act of self-care that you're going to show up for. And that to me is the starting point to start to create sort of these non-negotiables where you know what you need for yourself that day and you are going to actively participate in it.
I think a lot of times people look at their days and even those wellness techniques or those little self-care things end up being just another thing on their to-do list and they can't find joy in it.
Yes.
It's I have to get through this workout.
And yes, and yes, and yes. And I even think, to me, movement is not a self-care act. To me, movement is a necessity. It's like having water and food. And I don't mean a workout. I mean movement. Your body will atrophy if you don't move it. You have to create. If you want to shift the energy of the mind, shift the energy of your body, and immediately you don't have to do anything else. The energy of your mind will shift. It's just basic science, right? And so if people can understand that you might not want to do the quote unquote workout, okay, so don't change, don't do anything different. Just literally put your hands and knees on your carpet and start doing some stretching. And then maybe I always use music as a motivator. Make a playlist of 5 songs that you just love and start with some slow, delicious movement that is not work. It's just breathing and stretching. And then after about 3 minutes, 5 minutes maybe, you're going to want to incorporate new movement. And then that new movement becomes new. You see what I mean? It's people just have to start slow and kind versus that aggressive, I got to get this done and I got to go for it.
I think what you're talking about is a foundation to wellness. It's almost in a way a gateway to movement. Because you get the taste of it and you can feel your body change and the physiology and your mental state and your mood. And then you want more of it. I think that is such a better way to go. So
sustainable, right? That's what longevity looks like. And in so many of these practices, like herbalism or, acupuncture or yoga or whatever you want to look at, meditation, so many of these practices are intended to create longevity, right? And resiliency. So it's not about doing movement because of, in my opinion, I always try to give people a new way of looking at it. You're not doing movement for like calories burned and steps walked, even though of course that's very satisfying to the ego. I love looking at my steps after like a day in New York City when I've had meetings everywhere. It's very satisfying, but you're not doing it for that reason. If you can shift it to say, I want to strengthen my muscles because I want to have longevity and I want my life to feel good. So when I'm 80 years old, I have that strength to do things. I have that resilience in my body if something like disease or something like a virus comes around. To me, that's really the shift in the mental space of wellness. And it takes a person really just shifting their mindset and recognizing how much a choice all of this is. Not a you have to do this or you didn't have a good day. It's about, I want to do this because I do give a shit about how my body feels in my life.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of those non-negotiables for you? What are the things that are woven into your day that you're focused on for longevity and for your wellness?
I would say every morning I won't get out of my bed. I don't care if I'm late to anything. I won't get out of my bed until I have done, it's Reiki on myself, but really it's very lazy in the sense that I just lay in bed and put my hands on my heart and I just breathe and I allow myself to just feel present and to fill up myself with light and to fill up. I pray. I mean, I really give myself this deep time to connect. And it might be for just 10 minutes. It might be for 30 minutes. I might do some stretching in bed or setting up my intentions for the day or just asking God to like show me how to serve. I have this new mantra of just, I want what you want, universe. I want what you want for me, God, to really create this sort of art of surrender. Because I have a very, very controlling mind and I've been very type A for many, many years of my life. So I try to challenge those parts of myself because it just feels better. And then I love my morning coffee ritual with my husband. We have our lemon water with in the morning, and then we'll have our coffee with chocolate collagen that we took from your playbook. And then I really go slow, like even doing this podcast this morning, like this was do I really want to? Like I actually check in with myself. And that's an absolute non-negotiable is my mornings are very sacred to me. And also I like to just give myself space. If I want to sleep in, I sleep in. And I'm fortunate to not have young kids. So my kids are older. So I have that luxury right now. But I think really daily check-ins with myself is also part of my non-negotiables. Is I get asked to do a lot of things, and I know you do too. And before I would have said yes to everything because I really had an unworthiness complex. And now I don't feel that way at all. Like I'm doing this morning podcast with you because I really want to, but I gave myself permission to check in before saying yes. And I think that's a huge part of my wellness practice is not saying yes out of fear or out of unworthiness or any of my old programs. It's saying yes because it's like an absolute yes.
And how do you identify when it's an absolute yes? And how do you get to the root of like it being true to your soul?
I think we all make choices that we realize after the fact that we didn't really want to do. And I've made many of those where I say yes. And then as the moment is coming up, I recognize that I'm starting to feel anxious about it.
And it should have been a no.
So I don't always know, of course, but I use that information as a guide for the next moment, right? Because we're all constantly changing and we're all constantly growing, and I'm certainly not perfect. So I think it's also about being really, really kind with myself. So even if I say yes to something and then I realize I don't want to do it, I usually follow through with my commitment, but I give myself permission to change how I show up to it. And I think that's a big part of it, right? Is that comes back to that flexibility concept of, oh, well, part of the reason I'm getting anxious or don't want to do this is because I've created a demand or an expectation of myself that nobody else did. I did it, of how I need to show up for this thing, of how I need to present myself, of how I need to give. And I really challenge myself to show up differently than what my ego is telling me of, quote unquote, how I have to show up. So that helps. And then other than that, I just am at a place which I'm so grateful for. And I think age is a huge part of it. And, just growth and learning yourself. I'm also at a place now where I don't feel that I have anything to prove. And that feels really, really good. I feel very, and this isn't every day, but most days now I feel really confident with who I am, and not because I need other people's validation. It's not about other people. It's that I feel confident with who I am for me, and I feel aligned, and that helps me make those decisions.
That's really beautiful. I feel like when people align themselves with their passion and what they're meant to be doing, they can get sucked into what I call the energy vortex, where what you're doing synergistically gets you further because you're so in tune with it being your passion and just that, I guess, like collective energy. It's just pretty powerful.
And I mean, yes. And it's also like when you stop comparing, right? When you stop trying to look at yourself in the world compared to others. I just don't do that to myself anymore. It's like, now I look at myself in the world as who I want to be and how I want to show up for myself, for my family, for my loved ones, and then also for like my fellow human beings and for the earth. That's really where I look now is to see me with me, not me compared to other people.
Oh, you are burning bright, Kelsey. You are burning bright. So can we talk a little bit about what inspired you to write this book? Because I feel like you're an old soul. You're like a monk Buddha, spirit princess. I don't know. Bathing me in positive magic energy vibes. Reiki for some people is a little bit woo.
Absolutely.
And so I want you to explain to them what a Reiki session looks like, what inspired the book, and what they can expect.
Amazing. So Reiki is a Japanese healing modality. We use our palm chakras. You have chakras all over your body. The main 7 chakras people have probably seen depicted in a picture in a yoga studio or on a book somewhere that go sort of right down the center of the body. You see them when a person is seated in meditation. But we also have chakras everywhere. And 2 of those very strong chakras are in our palms. And so that is what we connect to when you're creating the connection with the Reiki source energy. Reiki source could be considered God, universe, whatever you want to call it, but it's this idea of sort of this universal energy that's bigger than the energy that we are in our one unique physical vessels. And the whole intention with Reiki is balance and harmony. So I grew up very, very Irish Catholic in North Dakota. So all of these concepts were like very woo to me. And I was very much a non-believer, if you will. And so for Reiki, it's really important for people to recognize that it's it's just about bringing balance and harmony to the mind, body, and spirit. So a Reiki session for a person coming in for the first time, it's different. Every practitioner will probably do some things a little bit differently, but the idea is the same, is they'll do an assessment, ask you if there's any areas that you really want to work on, if there's anything going on for you. And it's beyond just the physical body. If you have a big project, or if you're starting a new venture, or if you're releasing something big, it's going to help move all of the energies, the emotional, the mental, the physical energies of the body. So that's really the idea, is to help you assess where you're at and kind of how you want to feel, or what brought you in for a session. And then the practitioner will lay you down. You stay fully clothed in a Reiki session. They may or may not ask you to just take your socks off, because we Reiki your feet, and your feet have very strong chakras as well, which is why people love the concept of earthing, because it's your actual chakras of your feet that are connecting to that source. So they'll basically have you lay down. They might play some soft music, maybe use some essential oils to just sort of give you into a state of peace. And then they'll begin their work. Typically, a Reiki practitioner doesn't touch any part of your body except maybe the back of your head and perhaps your feet. But they may touch other parts, but never anywhere that would be like an uncomfortable part of the body. And then they may or may not flip you onto your stomach and do some work on your back. And that's it. A session is typically probably about 45 minutes on the actual table. But again, every practitioner varies in their own unique way. And I defer to each practitioner and how they like to show up for their clients. And then in the book, I didn't ever think, I can't wait to write a book. It was really other people seeing me as an author and a writer before I saw myself as that. And so I'd gotten for years, I'm sure like you, Kelly, I had gotten a lot of different random smaller publishing houses to reach out to me and ask me if I'd ever considered writing a book. And it just wasn't the time. And then Jordan Younger, our mutual friend, had asked me about if I wanted to meet her book agent. And this was years ago. And I said, okay, sure, no problem. Introduce us. And we had this amazing conversation, hadn't met. And I was like, it's just not the right time. So a year or so went by. And then I was in New York for meetings, and we ended up having this connection, and we all met in their office and decided to work on a book proposal. Then, as luck would have it, I saw you and Will Cole at the Goop, that private Goop event. And I was like, how do you guys have time to do it all? And Will Cole so graciously gave me the info for the person who helped him write his book. And that was really what I needed, was like an accountability partner. And that was how the book started. And it is so far beyond me. I don't know if you feel this way with your book, but it has, to me, it's taken on its own sovereignty now. Like it has fully, I'm too small of a container to keep the energy inside of me that the book has. The book has so much, it's infused with Reiki healing. So people have messaged me that upon just getting the book, they felt this wave of energy, or they started to cry or anything. It's just got its own magical power. And I embedded each book with a healing code for that specific person, so that they can really feel a connection to the words and the work for themselves. And yeah, it just takes you on a journey. I don't really know what else to say or how to describe it.
Would you say that it's like motivational for people, or more like centering and grounding?
I would say it's going to open you up to spiritual side of you. I would say it's going to feel like a breath of fresh air. It's going to feel like you can take a long exhale when you read the book. I would say it'll make you thirsty to want to try the practices. So there's 3 parts to the book. The first part is really sort of an assessment and awareness. And there's a lot of science in the book because I I really wanted to connect to the people who are the non-believers and to help people who have really kept an arm's length from this work out of fear or unknown or whatever it may be. That was really the intention when I wrote the book, was to help people who maybe are suffering with anxiety, pain, burnout, but don't know how to address it in a non-conventional way. And that was the intention for the book. And now, sort of looking at how it's been out for a week and how people have already been reacting to it, it's going to be a unique experience for everyone who touches it and everyone who reads it, because it will speak to you in the way that you are seeking or needing or desiring that support. And so the second part of the book is all about the triad of wholeness, and you get to identify all these different parts of yourself, and sort of how you are feeling and where you're at in your life in that sort of mind, body, spirit connection. And then the last part of the book is all about practices and rituals and very digestible ways to incorporate this stuff now, without waiting, without going to a wellness retreat, without getting certified in something. I teach you how to do Reiki on yourself. I teach you how to do EFT, emotional freedom technique, which is also known as tapping, which is an amazing anxiety diffuser. I just teach you all these things that I've learned over more than a decade, because I want people to feel empowered and I want people to take healing into their own hands.
You're showing everyone it's accessible.
Yeah. And that it's real and that it works. And you can try it, not because you have to or you should, but because you can, and you're worthy of thriving and not surviving. You're worthy of vibrancy. You're worthy of burning bright. You're worthy of living a life that feels graceful and easy and joyful and not full of stress and pain and anxiety.
Oh, delicious. It's really true. I feel like so many people are so burnt out. And even with this change, COVID has created a large change in a lot of people's lives. They're obviously home. They're not saying yes. They're not able to, be pulled in every different direction, but it's requiring a completely different, relationship with yourself and self-care. What are some of the tips in the back of the book that people can maybe incorporate now if they're just listening in and they put the book on order, but they need something right now to take care of themselves? What do you think is the best practice in the back of your book?
I love that. So I will say, one, it's so simple, and I encourage everyone to just try it. Try it not because you need it to work, but because you're just curious. I talk a bit about radical curiosity as a really great entry into doing this work. And it's hand washing. And it's so ironic that this is the time that everyone is obsessively hand washing, right? But I put this ritual in the book that's a hand washing ritual. And it's something that I have been using for years in my own practice, and having, doing workshops with maybe 25 people or doing workshops with 500 people where I'm Reikiing the whole audience. And the first thing I do when I'm done is I go into a bathroom and I run water on my hands all the way up to my elbows. And as I'm doing it, and the reason I'm saying this to people is because many of us, even though you might not realize it yet, or you might not be aware of it, or maybe you do know this part of yourself, we're all collectively carrying and picking up energy from other people. So even if you're not physically seeing people, you are absolutely collectively picking up on energy from watching news, from being on Zoom calls or Instagram or whatever, because there's so much openness right now. There's so much stillness in many ways, which creates a very open energy portal. And that's not something to be afraid of. It's more just it's beautiful actually, and it's something to be aware of. So this is a great time to start meditating, because you actually can probably drop in a lot easier because the world is a little more still. Having said that, the hand washing ritual is an amazing way to clear energy. So you finish a big call, right? After the podcast, Kelly, like you do something and you go into the bathroom, you put water all the way up to your elbows, and then you get your soap or whatever it may be, and you start washing, and you start basically, just massaging your arms and your hands. And as you're doing it, you're just thanking whatever that interaction was, whatever that energy was, and you're letting it go. You're consciously saying, thank you so much. And now I am asking to release and clear myself of any exchanged energy, and just letting it wash away and dissolve with the water, just like gracefully releasing it. And then at the end, once the soap is off, I'll do a blast of cold water on my hands all the way up to my elbows again. And then I let go. I shake my hands off, and my energy feels so clean and so clear. So that's one very simple thing that people can start doing immediately.
I love that. That's so specific too, because I feel like even if someone hadn't intentionally gotten off a call or a stage and walked into a bathroom, it really slows you down to say like, wow, I have the opportunity to take a few more seconds for myself instead of being the girl at the sink who's like, soap, water. Okay, I'm out of here. Like how many times women are like holding their purse, leaning over the sink. They're on their way out. Like hands aren't even dry. It's pretty funny, but that's like such a good tangible tool. I love that.
It's so easy. And it's
perfectly timely.
Perfectly timely, right? It couldn't be any more timely. And in the book, there are so many of these practices that I share with people. And, even if people take 3 things or 5 things, the idea is it's about creating these mini rituals in your day-to-day life so that you start to ritualize your life, not because it should be more work, but to create this like sacredness in this very fast-paced world, in what I call the age of anxiety that we all live in. It's about taking these micro moments to create macro shifts in your whole journey.
I love it. It's so good. I'm so excited to read the book. Mine's on the way.
Yay!
And I know it's going to really, really affect all of the readers. So you've made me really excited to take a minute to self-reflect, to learn about where I am in space, and then to start using some of your rituals to calm the burnout and ease the anxiety.
I love it.
Kelsey, thank you so much for your time today. I cannot tell you what a pleasure it is to chat with you. I'm so glad everyone got a second in the beginning of this podcast to just breathe and be in their body. Can you tell everybody where they can find you and follow along?
Of course. And thank you so much for having me, Kelly. You are an angel on this earth, and I am honored and proud to walk beside you. Yes, so you can find me at Kelsey J. Patel, Kelsey, the letter J, Patel on Instagram, Facebook. My website is kelseyjpatel.com. If you are looking to order the book, it is in all the formats and all the places you can buy it. Wherever you buy books, that's where you can purchase a copy of it. And the audio version is me. So the book, whether or not you have the ebook or the hard copy or the audio version, they will all be infused with distance Reiki healing to support any part of your journey that you choose to allow the book to manifest with you. And just come on over and say hi in any of those formats, because I would love to hear from you.
And the book, for everyone listening, is called Burning Bright. Kels, thank you so much for your time. I'm so excited for you, girlfriend.
Thanks, babe.
All right. Love you. Talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Be Well by Kelly. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Learn more at BeWellByKelly.com and follow me on Instagram at BeWellByKelly. I would love if you picked up my books, Body Love and Body Love Every Day. They're sold on Amazon and at all major booksellers.